It's the fastest growing tech hub, a city leading in IT innovation, a hotspot for VCs, and you'd probably find it on many other technology-related lists. This is Bengaluru. But do you know how Bengaluru got onto the global tech map? This story begins in 1985. The Indian men's cricket team created history down under. Anil Kapoor coined a phrase that would stick with him forever. Ekdam chaka! And Rajiv Gandhi, still in his first year as Prime Minister, had laid the foundation of a digital India. This was also the year when Texas Instruments, a Houston-based tech company, set up its base in Sona Towers, Bengaluru. This 7-story building at Millers Road, approximately the size of half a football field, was claiming to be India's first tech park, and a technology revolution had arrived at this destination on a bullock cart.
What you see in the picture is the entrance of that building where bullock cart is actually standing, and what it carries is the first satellite communication. To me, it's a very romantic picture. It actually conveys the possibilities of what can be really done from a very humble beginning. When I see that picture, it carries really very fond memories of what a bunch of young people could actually imagine what can be done from here, and their aspirations of how to really put themselves and Bangalore in the technology map of the whole world.
Even before Texas Instruments' introduction, Bengaluru was generating considerable interest worldwide. It was known for its sprawling gardens, had a reputation of being a pensioner's paradise, and was considered a significant contributor to India's electronics space. Public sector organizations like the ITI, BEL, and HMT had set up manufacturing units. The presence of research and development establishments like ISRO, HAL, and IISc were also getting the city noticed.
There was a clear environment for innovation, learning, and great people. The IISc institution available here, multiple public sector companies already operational in Bangalore like Bell, HAL, and all of that.
In the 80s, Bengaluru had been witnessing slow but gradual growth in the IT sector. Companies such as Infosys and Wipro, which were much smaller players at that time, had set up shop in the city. And towards the end of the decade, for big names like GE, the city was the first choice in the country. Then came liberalization. 1991. India was changing fast. From cars, clothing, appliances to fast-moving consumer goods, the people had a lot to choose from. India's private sector too could now expand into the core sector, seek foreign investment, and export with relative ease. The IT sector was no different. Favorable policies and the Software Technology Park scheme cleared the way to bolster software as an export. Drawn by its potential, thousands wanted to join the IT revolution. And when it came to qualified human resources, Bengaluru was a step ahead. A large, educated and skilled English-speaking talent was willing to work at relatively low wages.
Ready talent out here in Bangalore, and that's the primary reason why Bangalore is the IT capital of the country. You can source talent out of 100 odd engineering colleges in Bangalore. You have Indian Institute of Science, you have Triple IT here, and this is the middle class culture which allowed them to go ahead and just put their head down and start working.
Then this happened.
The clock rolled over to 00, but the century didn't change.
The bug will cause a lot of people a lot of trouble.
Stuff's gonna explode.
That's Homer Simpson's computer.
The Y2K crisis opened up an unprecedented opportunity for India. The magnitude of the problem was huge, the deadline was looming, and the only solution required a vast pool of skilled resources to build custom software at a low cost.
With millions of hours needed to rewrite billions of lines of code in hundreds of thousands of interdependent organizations, this is clearly one of the most complex management challenges in history.
India, and to be precise, Bengaluru, was at the forefront of this challenge. As a result of this scenario, by year 2000, the Indian IT industry had grown to over $5 billion in revenue, which was 50 times more from what it was a decade before.
A lot of companies abroad, like say US and Europe, outsourced their work for software engineers here to convert it into that 2000. So that led to a huge boom. There were small IT companies which don't exist at all, that they were there only solve this Y2K issue.
The success of Y2K amplified Bengaluru's reputation in the global IT space. The city was no longer just an outsourcing hub, but a viable option for software development, programming, and consulting. As an established IT destination, the next boom for Bengaluru came with the evolution of startups. It was home to a young workforce, eager with ideas, keen to innovate, and had access to investors. Apart from a mature tech ecosystem, Bengaluru also provided a vibrant work culture considered essential for an ideal startup environment.
Laid back culture, and it was very livable at that time, and we had really great memories of this place. In other metropolitan cities were too crowded. It was easy to find one's way, in Bangalore, but not the last 10 years. It has been basic. Infrastructure kind of didn't keep pace with the growth.
The IT boom was also responsible for transforming Bengaluru's cityscape. Residential neighborhoods now housed offices. Large parcels of empty farmlands were turning into IT parks. Lakes were now facing office buildings and residential high-rises. Areas that were considered much beyond city limits were now bustling with development. The pensioners' paradise was now a thing of the past, and it had earned the tag of being the Silicon Valley of India.
It so happened that builders started to become politicians and politicians became builders. That's where all the planning went for a toss, and who were to build wherever they had land.
You could convert your 30 square feet, 40 square feet land on which your own house is there. You demolish it and build 3 floors and make it into an apartment or a 40-60. You could do anything that you wanted.
While the Silicon Valley grew, the city was struggling to keep pace. The exponential growth meant unprecedented pressures on housing, water, power, waste disposal, roads, and other infrastructure. Bengaluru was now the world's most congested city, likely to run out of groundwater soon, witnessing a spike in pollution, and featured amongst the most expensive cities to live in the country.
The government of Karnataka wants more revenue. They'll open up the window and say, okay, anybody wants to regularize, do it and go ahead. So obviously, this entire burden is taken by the existing infrastructure.
It's definitely a man-made problem that we created by not spreading things out.
So what's next for Bengaluru?
Bangalore should really start outsourcing now.
We should create an alternative tech hub outside Bangalore.
If we put all the technical brains that are creating the products for the world, I do have aspirations that we will all pool together, work together, collaborate together to create a much better Bangalore